Here's how the latest Xbox update changes the game. What is up, y'all, and welcome to Xbox Ready, my YouTube channel that is all about Xbox. You know how it goes. I get on here multiple times a week to talk the latest Xbox news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how this latest Xbox update has me seriously excited for the future. At this point, I'm sure you do not need a reminder, but Xbox is currently in the middle of a bit of a pivot. They want to break free from the chains of just being a console maker. No one wants to be known for just doing the one thing, and they want to expand to multiple devices, even if it means reaching across the aisle and putting their games onto other platforms. But while that's been the prevailing storyline, oh, Xbox consoles, they don't have exclusives anymore. They're giving up, they're selling themselves out to PlayStation and Nintendo. How could they do this? People forget that it doesn't just mean more Xbox stuff on PlayStation and Nintendo, but across other cool devices like these partnered handhelds that they just did with Asus, the Xbox Ally handhelds, gaming PCs, cloud, all sorts of stuff. And while Xbox's mortal enemy from the moment it was born back in 2001 has always been PlayStation, what they're doing right now in 2025 as a company puts them on a direct collision course with Valve, not Sony. Because in this day and age where Xbox is trying to push this narrative that everything is an Xbox, PCs, consoles, phones, and tablets via cloud gaming, Valve can make a lot of those same claims, especially since SteamOS has leapt off of Steam Decks and gone to other handhelds. My buddy Jimmy has even made his own Steam machine before the release of the actual Steam machine by putting SteamOS on a gaming PC and using it as a console. Basically, Steam is no longer just a storefront on your gaming PC, and SteamOS is not confined to a single device anymore. So not only does Xbox have to compete in the hardware space with Valve now that they've announced the Steam machine, but they also have to compete on the OS software front. And as of October 2025, Xbox seemingly has an answer to this with the Xbox full screen experience. Damn, I wish the name was cooler. Windows OS, that would have been just fine, or Xbox OS. But despite its boring ass name, it is actually a significant improvement over what I was previously dealing with my base ROG Ally, especially when it comes to navigating the actual console using the built-in gamepad or an external controller. A couple months go by, and on November 25th, Microsoft rolled out an update to the full screen experience and their newest Xboxes, the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X. And after a week of testing it out, here's what you need to know. The headliner for this update is hands down these gaming profiles that they've introduced. This is essentially Microsoft trying to take the guesswork out of, oh, like what kind of settings should I be running, especially when I'm not connected to a power source? How can I get the maximum performance while also not burning through my battery? It's honestly an important and cool step that they're taking, trying to cut down on the guesswork of people fiddling around with settings and updates and all sorts of other stuff and just get them playing the game, get them the best possible settings without any extra work. So instead of having to go into menus and fiddle around with performance settings, the Ally is going to automatically adjust power and FPS limits depending on the game. The example that they use in the Xbox Wire is, oh, you know, while we were testing it out with Hollow Knight Silksong, using gaming profiles, we were able to get an extra hour of battery life that you would get over performance mode, while also maintaining that 120 FPS mark. That was a pretty interesting claim. I'm like, okay, longer battery life, stable performance. So of course I wanted to check it out for myself, and while no diss to Hollow Knight Silksong, it is a great game. It's just not typically the game that I play and not the game I envision myself playing on my Xbox Ally X. And in terms of content, it seems like a pretty softball game to throw out in any sort of test. Like, this game was meant to run on Nintendo Switch consoles. I would hope that it would run on my $1,000 Xbox handheld. No, I wanted to see how this thing would perform with more power-hungry games that I typically play that fall into like the FPS genre, action games, RPGs. So I jumped into Doom: The Dark Ages and Gears Reloaded to see how these gaming profiles stack up. And I will admit, I was pretty damn impressed with how Doom: The Dark Ages was running on the Xbox Ally X out the box, just me booting it up and getting into a game, the Repertorium. It's in true handheld mode, so this is just from the battery power, and as you can see, it's doing a really good job of hanging around that 60 FPS mark. Sometimes it dips into the 57 range, peaks at like 61 frames per second, but again, not a bad job considering this has no external power source. And as you can see in my Armory Crate tab, the gaming profile thing is definitely turned on for more Doom the Dark Ages. I got through pretty much the entirety of Monday Night Football. I was nonstop playing Doom the Dark Ages through the entirety of Monday Night Football, and when I checked the battery life, it was just a little under half battery. That was a definite improvement over what I was previously working with. Outside of that, this update is also bringing faster game library loading, which is supposed to be helpful if you have like a massive gaming library. I don't, at least not on my Xbox Ally X. It only has a terabyte of storage, and already I'm getting towards the limit of that. They also claim that they've improved the gamepad response after you log in. Historically, this has been a problem for me. Like, I wake up my Xbox Ally and I'm like, okay, time to put in my PIN, not really working. Then when it does, I get to the Xbox app and I'm trying to navigate it and it's just totally frozen. And once it catches up, it freaks out. It's like trying to process all the inputs that I was giving it. And while I don't have any hard data to back this up, anecdotally, the Game Pass navigating after logging in did seem to be improved. What makes me frustrated about making videos about this thing is that for some reason, whenever I'm using it just for fun, for gaming, when I'm lying around my apartment, it works fine. And then as I'm trying to get footage of it, all of a sudden it's like, no, I don't really feel like working right now. Every fucking time. They've also thrown in some improvements to the cloud gaming page on the Xbox Ally X. This is another one of those things where I'm like, I'm just gonna take them at their word. I don't pick this thing up to stream games through the cloud. I want to play games natively. And in the past, I've done videos and I've checked out cloud gaming through this thing. I don't use it enough to notice an immediate noticeable difference, so I'm just gonna take them at their word. They're also throwing in a new game gallery filter so you can sort by performance. The usual suspects are towards the top, games like Hades, games like Hollow Knight Silksong, but the idea is that you're sorting by games that you know are gonna run well natively on this thing. Again, all little things that are trying to take the guesswork out of, oh, is it worth buying this thing and trying to play it on my Ally? Is it worth downloading and, you know, dedicating all of the storage to? I would hate to do all that stuff and then find out it runs like crap. So yeah, this is a definite W in my opinion. And of course, they remind us that the full screen experience that was only on the Xbox Ally handhelds, it's now being set free and it's migrating over to all Windows-powered handheld gaming PCs and even desktop PCs if you're a certain level in the Xbox Insider Hub. The sad thing is, even though I've been an insider for the past 4 years and 2 months, I am not a high enough ring to get the full screen experience on my gaming PC, my Razer 14, which is a damn shame and really threw a wrench into my plans for this video because originally when they first made that announcement, back in, what was the partner preview? I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna go home and do a video right now about using the full screen experience on my Razer 14. I'm turning my gaming laptop into a next-gen Xbox. It's gonna be genius. And then I couldn't. I thought, man, I can get to the bottom of like if the full screen experience will offer any noticeable boost to performance or efficiency. So while I couldn't get that data using just regular Windows 11 versus the full screen experience on my Razer 14, I still thought it would be fun to compare Windows 11 just straight up on my gaming laptop and compare it to how games run using the full screen experience on my Xbox Ally X. It all started when I tried to play Halo Infinite on my Razer 14 and I was absolutely appalled with how much it was struggling. I mean, this is medium settings, 1440p, but still I'm like, I feel like this laptop should be able to handle that, and it was just absolutely atrocious. Now, this is me playing Halo Infinite on the Xbox Ally X, and out the box, it just runs so much smoother. It was really impressive. Sure, I take a hit to resolution, obviously, but I was getting a much more stable frame rate. I was seriously impressed. I'm not even plugged into any power source right now. My Razer 14 was. So I was like, okay, let's keep this ball rolling. Let's see Doom the Dark Ages, how it compares between the two. As we were talking earlier, my Xbox Ally X doing a pretty solid job of hanging around that 60 FPS mark at 1080p resolution. Graphical settings are medium, and then I switch on over to my Razer 14, and again, you can see it's struggling to stay even at 50 right now. And I'm boosting the crap out of my GPU using the Razer Synapse app, and you can also see that it's using significantly more GPU and VRAM than it would be on my Xbox Ally X. The only other app that I was running was when I was playing Halo Infinite. I had Discord open, but everything else was closed off. And this was a recurring theme across the board. I tried Grounded 2. I said I tried Grounded 2. Okay, one more time. Let's see if Grounded 2. Okay, Grounded 2 is not working. Let's move on. That is whack. Let's move on back to Halo. Again, I wasn't doing anything crazy on it, just trying to run it at medium settings. I even turned it down to 1080p resolution at one point. It was still struggling. I don't know what's going on. I feel like my Razer should be able to perform much better with this game that at this point is like 4 years old. Maybe I'm getting thermal throttled. I need to like redo the paste on my GPU. I did update my drivers and got a little bit of a performance boost across the board, but other than that, this was a recurring theme. Hopped on over to Gears of War Reloaded and was much the same story. The Xbox Ally X, with the assistance of the gaming profile, was doing a pretty admirable job of hanging around that 60 FPS mark and 1080p resolution. Now, of course, the Xbox Ally X has a 120Hz screen, and just for fun, I wanted to see what it would take to get to that 120 FPS mark. Turns out it's with a power source and turning it down to 720p resolution. But it was also the same case for my Razer 14. I had to turn it down to medium settings, 720p, in order to get even like 80 FPS. Now, the one thing that a lot of people were saying leading up to the release of the Xbox Ally X was, why would I buy this thing? I could just buy a gaming laptop. It's around the same price. It'd be so much more powerful. The Razer 14, last time I checked, was like $1,200 to $1,400. And mine is getting up there in age. It's had a lot of use. It ain't what it used to be. But again, I was pretty damn impressed with how the Xbox Ally X was stacking up to this gaming laptop without me having to do barely anything to it. Right out the gate, no power source, hitting 60 FPS at a pretty consistent rate. And if I wanted to, I can go into those settings, raise the FPS limiter, lower the graphical settings, lower the resolution if I wanted to achieve those higher frame rates. But out the box, me doing nothing, that's pretty cool compared to what I had to go through with my Razer 14. Overall, I think we need to start taking these handhelds a little bit more seriously. People were absolutely dogging them because they're $1,000, $1,000 Xbox. And I broke my cardinal rule of listening to that discourse and letting it affect my opinion when I did my initial review. And I seriously regret that because this thing continues to impress me and they're continuing to improve it. And sure, Xbox is a little bit on the back foot here trying to respond to Steam, trying to get the full screen experience on par with SteamOS so they can use it elsewhere. But it's pretty cool, this idea that we're heading towards a future where Xbox consoles, now that they're going to be PC hybrids, they can be improved over time. PC guys are used to that at this point. They're used to buying these graphics cards, these GPUs, and companies like Nvidia can update the drivers, push these updates that can sometimes lead to performance boost, but also just make them more stable, make them more efficient, and make them compatible with modern games. Over on the console side, that's not really happening. Like, you buy your Xbox Series X or S or your PlayStation 5, and that's basically what they're gonna be in terms of performance, in terms of capability for the rest of their life cycle. So the next gen Xbox Project Magnus PC console hybrid thing, gonna be a little on the pricey side, gonna be expensive, but the idea that we can get a high quality experience consistent across the board, across multiple titles performance-wise, while also having this machine that grows with us and that Microsoft can improve over time, that's a cool idea. And I think it's worth noting that Xbox is actually following through on what they were saying to us in those initial pitch meetings for the Xbox Ally X, like cut down on the time it takes for you to pick up this console and get into a game and enjoy yourself, taking the guesswork out of these things. And in doing so, make it more approachable for people who don't have a lot of experience with PC gaming. Like, if you've never used a PC for gaming in your life, you'll still be able to pick up this thing, launch Doom: The Dark Ages, and have a really solid, consistent experience. Even if you don't have any knowledge about FPS limitation, upscaling, aliasing techniques, field of view sliders, you can just pick up the game and play. It will work. And honestly, that is something that they need to focus on if they want to still appeal to the console base that they've cultivated over the past 20 years. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, though. There are definitely some frustrating things that come along with this console, with this pivot that Xbox is doing. There are a shocking amount of first-party games from Xbox that are not optimized to be played on the Xbox Ally X. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Why is The Outer Worlds 2 or Grounded 2 or all of these other first-party games, why are they not optimized for the Xbox Ally handheld lineup? And I've also also run into a lot of frustrations with the cross-save, cloud sync your games across all these devices. When I opened up Hades, which was one of the first games that I played on the Xbox Ally X, it was like, congratulations, we've synced all your data, Lord Janitor. Are you ready to play? And then I didn't have any of my save data at all. Like, there was no previous saves, even though on my first run for my first video with the Xbox Ally X, I made it all the way to Hades after like only 12 hours of playing the game. That was all gone. And as you can see in this clip where I'm trying to open up Grounded 2, I'm just stuck in like a sinking loop. It won't let me play the game or do anything else. It can't even get to the menu. So yeah, still a lot of kinks to work out, but I feel like the potential is definitely there. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.